Oh, that wasn't me acting. I actually didn't know I was live. But good morning and welcome, Nigeria. You've tuned into Breakfast Extra, your morning passport to truth, chaos, and of course, a little timely toast, as it turns out. Now, the only show that's bold enough to ask the questions that would get others chased off of air, but somehow, just somehow, we managed to still get away with it. Maybe it's because of the nuanced comedy, or maybe it's the charm, I don't know. Or maybe it's just easier to swallow the truth when you're too busy laughing. So we capitalized on it. In any case, you want to grab your coffees now, your caffeinated piece of clarity, and a generous slice of skepticism, because you're going to need it. Because we're about to dig into the national buffet of sorrow and spin. And today, I warn you, it's no laughing matter, so stern face on. Now, while the headlines ran all through last week, Benue bleeds again. We here at News Central prefer to ask, why is Benue always bleeding? The massacre in Yelwata, over 150 lives erased in a breath. It's more than just another chapter in Nigeria's long-wearing book of violence. It's a symptom of a festering wound in the country's midriff. Central Nigeria has become the theater of a silent war, where climate pressure, land use tension, identity politics, and let's be honest, pain porn have been playing a deadly ping pong for over a decade. But here's the twist. Until we understand the real forces behind this bloodshed, until we put names and history to motive, all these reconciliation calls are like throwing paint on a cracked wall. It's just cosmetic and it's dead on arrival. But you can't reconcile two sides when you haven't even acknowledged the identities of these sides. Or worse, when you keep pretending it's just a disagreement among neighbors. I ask, which neighbors? Listen, let's talk about language. Because if there was ever a time for presidential diction to be tight, crisp, and unambiguous, now is that time. But President Tinubu has already gone and described the massacre as reprisal attack. Reprisal, okay. That's a very nice and tidy diplomatic way of saying, they had it coming, and Nigerians heard it. Well, they heard it loud, but not so clear. Because words matter in these instances. In conflicts like these, language is the difference between justice and gaslighting. For instance, genocide gets the international community involved. Terrorists triggers sanctions, arms bans, and maybe, just maybe, some actual foreign intelligence support. But reprisal, yeah, sounds like two teenagers fighting over who ate the last piece of meat in the cooking pot. So the question is, why does the villa always choose the softest possible word from the rack? Well, maybe calling it what it truly actually is attracts the kind of global scrutiny that gets uncomfortable very fast. It might force the system to stop playing ostrich, burying its head in the sand, and start playing leader, actual efforts. And frankly, it would seem no one is ready for that level of honesty and work. Meanwhile, the Catholic Bishop of Taragba has politely told Mr. President to go shove the condolences and do something practical. And honestly, he has a point. Because what do you tell the last surviving member of a family wiped out in their sleep? Hey, it's all going to be well, don't you worry. To be honest, the president did promise to turn the tragedy into prosperity. It's a noble sentiment, I agree, if not for the rather inconvenient fact that the people of Benue had to be massacred before prosperity even got penciled into the development agenda. The road to Yelwata, by the way, is still bad when it rains. That's just a side note. But seriously, ladies and gentlemen, why does it take carnage before action? Why does a part of Nigeria have to burn before a federal light bulb comes on? For those who've lost everything, what exactly are we offering in place of their homes, their livelihoods, and their lives? Condolences are fine, but Mr. President, respectfully, what about compensation? What about restitution? A working funding security presence? What about policies? See, we forget that Benue is actually the food basket of the nation. And if these things continue, we will have no food in that basket. And let's not forget, then there is Mr. Peter Obi stepping up with his now viral rebuke. The president failed to show empathy. Yes, Mr. Obi, that's the point. Thank you for pointing that bad roads prevented the physical visit of the president to Benue State, which is quite fair. But you see, Mr. Obi, sir, let's also be honest. Empathy alone on your part won't fix everything. Showing up is good optics. Making headlines with your comments keeps you in the polity. Let's agree, it would seem. But you know what would actually work better, sir? Showing up with actual solutions. That's the magic we're still waiting for. Full disclosure here, let me let you know. I'm an advocate for letting the presidency's efforts yield results. I love what Mr. President is trying to do for Nigeria. Maybe not the methods, but I think the efforts, they're good. And I think if we tried all else, or if we've tried everything else from across the opposition table, maybe it's time to try support. Because it's become a literal matter of life and death. So no politicizing of the matter here, please. And of course, NNPP wasn't going to let this moment go without losing, or rather tossing in their own pepper into the soup. They slammed the president's response as lukewarm. And were forced to ask, is this a genuine concern, or is this the opposition finally waking up from political hibernation once again because now there's blood on the dance floor, the cameras are rolling, and Susie, we've got your number? It's hard to tell when empathy and optimism wear the same agbada, quite frankly. So look, I'm honestly not holding brief for the president. Heaven knows that the villa has enough press aides to do that, but I'm here to offer a very balanced plate. And that means asking the hard questions of everyone, including those who only find their voices when tragedy makes headlines. So to all those who are showing up at the party solutionless, here's looking at you with a side eye. Which brings us to the latest presidential directive: arrest the killers and, wait for it, set up a peace committee. Now, let's be real here. And here's the truth. It might get funny, but somewhere in the corridors of bureaucracy, someone just smiled, because committees, my dear brothers and sisters and friends in Nigeria, are Nigeria's favorite part-time employment scheme. There's always that one guy who hasn't chaired anything since Jonathan left office, and now, glory be to Allah, there's a new round table and maybe even a fresh SUV in the offing, so he's gonna take it. But here's the question yet again: what exactly will this committee do? Talk? Mediate? Draft peace charters while people continue to sleep with one eye open? Can we name these committee members, if you ask me? Can we check their track records or on past crises, not just anything? Show working here, here, and here, please. Because it isn't 2006 anymore. We've been here before. And if we're not careful, we'll still be here come 2027 with new names, or maybe even the same old ones. Same pain, same tears. And with that, as always, I say, well, a big hearty welcome to my partner in primetime provocations, Judith Atibi. Let's crack some eggs and make breakfast, shall we? Judith, welcome. Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you as well, Rosina. A very good morning to our viewers as well. As you said, it's time for us to serve us some provocation this morning.
Let's already. I'll join you now. We'll take a look at the dailies, and then we'll get into meat of things this morning. Welcome. It's Breakfast Extra.